clear, are you saying race or gender played a role in this tragedy?
It may have, I don't know. Incompetence might have played a role. Well, please, go ahead.
The U.S. is still reeling from Wednesday's tragedy, a mid-air collision in Washington, D.C. It was deadly. We showed you the pictures yesterday. A U.S. military helicopter and a passenger plane crashed into each other. People do not walk out of crashes like that, and that seems to be the case here too. 67 people were on board both the aircraft. 53 bodies have been recovered from the area, but 14 victims are yet to be found. As we speak, the rescue efforts are underway. It is focused on DC's Potomac River. When something like this happens, the first question usually is how? How can a chopper and plane crash? Did they not see each other? Well, officials are investigating that, 2 black boxes from each aircraft, and they have flight data and cockpit recordings. Hopefully that will reveal some details. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump has his own theories. He held a press conference yesterday. It started off on a somber note, but soon he veered into politics. Trump blamed diversity hires for this collision.
DEI and the claims that you've made, are you saying this crash was somehow caused and the result of diversity hiring? And what evidence have you seen to support these claims?
It just could have been. We have a high standard. We've had a much higher standard than anybody else. And there are things where you have to go by brain power. You have to go by psychological quality.
That's why I'm trying to figure out how you can come to the conclusion right now that diversity had something to do with this crash.
Because I have common sense, okay? And unfortunately, a lot of people don't. We want brilliant people doing this. This is a major chess game at the highest level.
So Trump is blaming DEI, diversity, equity and inclusion. It's a policy aimed at addressing inequality. The idea is to hire more people from marginalized groups. In the US, that could mean the black community or the LGBTQ community or the Native American community. But President Trump opposes this policy. He says it has eroded merit in the US government. Now, there is no proof to back this claim, but DEI has become an ideological issue nowadays. The left supports it, the right opposes it, and Trump is blaming DEI for virtually everything. Look at his social media post on Wednesday. Trump blamed DEI for rising inflation. He said the central bank was too busy with woke ideas, so they forgot to tackle inflation. Before that, it was the Los Angeles wildfire. Trump's ally Elon Musk peddled this theory. He said DEI at the fire department led to a poor response. He said DEI means you die. Some Trump supporters also blamed the LA mayor, a black woman named Karen Bass. They branded her an inefficient DEI hire. Last May, there was another incident. A container ship crashed into a bridge in Baltimore. Again, Republicans blamed DEI because the Baltimore Port Commissioner was a black woman. The strategy is pretty clear. If you blame DEI, you don't have to take any responsibility. Plus, you can defame an opposition policy. It's not just dangerous, it is also a double standard. Trump says people with disabilities are being hired at the aviation regulator. He blamed Joe Biden and Barack Obama for it. But guess who started this policy? It was Trump himself. Back in 2019, he opened the aviation regulator to people with disabilities. And now he's blaming it for the crash. Just classic Trump things. It's almost like a flashback into his first term, especially yesterday's press conference. It was his first after taking office again. That background, that podium, all of it takes you back to the pandemic. Back then, President Trump would give daily press conferences, a mix of fake news, fake science, and rhetoric. And he's not changing that approach, which has left White House stenographers disappointed. These are people who transcribe the president's remarks, and they have a complaint. They say Trump simply won't stop talking. He spoke 22,000 words on Inauguration Day, 22,000 words, and 17,000 when he visited Los Angeles. Now, to put that in context, an average novel is around 70,000 words. Basically, 3 busy days for Donald Trump. Apparently, the White House is looking to hire more people because they cannot keep up with the president, especially after working for Joe Biden for 4 years. With Biden, they probably faced a different challenge, decoding size and gibberish. With Trump, it's probably more about transcribing with a straight face, especially when he says stuff like this.
In that process, we identified and stopped $50 million being sent to Gaza to buy condoms for Hamas. 50 million. And you know what's happened to them? They've used them as a method of making bombs. How about that? Just
to be clear, there is no basis of this statement. There is no fact here. The U.S. has not spent $50 million on Hamas, but this is the Trump White House. The focus is not on facts, it is on rhetoric. Tune into Firstpost for our special budget coverage tomorrow. We'll be tracking the finance minister's speech in the morning, the key announcements, the big policy changes, and the major reactions. Also, don't miss the special budget edition of Vantage at 9 p.m. tomorrow.